Florida Governor Ron DeSantis announcing plans to send more than 1,100 National Guard soldiers and law enforcement officers to Texas to help with border security.
So state and federal officials still concerned about a possible surge in border crossings following the end of Title 42. Joining us now, former Texas Congresswoman Mayra Flores and Christopher OIivarez, a staff lieutenant for the Texas Highway Patrol. We've had both of you on before. Thank you so much for being here. Mayra, I want to start with you. DeSantis previously sent support to the U.S. southern border in Texas and Arizona in 2021. Now, following requests for assistance from the governors of those states, how is this any different from what happened back then in 2021?
Well, honestly, we're very grateful to Governor DeSantis for wanting to help our state because he understands that this isn't just a South Texas problem. This is an American problem. And we're hoping that this encourages other governors to also come to South Texas to help us with resources and manpower, because we don't have that here in South Texas. But most importantly, we need to change the policies, because we can bring all these resources, but if we don't change the policies, people will continue to cross illegally into our country. And sanctuary cities as well need to step up. They call themselves sanctuary, but all I hear is complaining that we're sending them a few hundred migrants when that's what they're supposed to be doing. And they want to leave us alone. And they have encouraged this. So it's time for sanctuary cities to step up and deal with it, because we have been dealing with this for the past 3 years.
No doubt the migrant crisis has spread across the country. As you allude to, Mayra, the idea that buses of migrants are making their ways across the country to end up in other cities. We've spoken to mayors of border towns who say essentially that their town's like a processing center. They get the information from the migrants, they load them up on the bus, and then they're on their way. And a big question as to where's the ultimate destination for these folks, and what are they planning to do once they arrive and attempt to settle in? And Christopher, that goes back to what's happening with Governor DeSantis here. He said the impacts of Biden's border crisis are felt by communities across the nation, and the federal government's abdication of duty undermines the sovereignty of our country and the rule of law. In your opinion, what's the federal government missing in this entire sequence of events?
Well, I mean, the fact is that they failed to provide any type of resources to Border Patrol agents or to border communities, or in fact, the entire country. Their responsibility is to secure the border to protect the American people, but they have neglected to do that for the past 2 years. And that's why the state of Texas, we've been having to step in for the past 2 years when Governor Abbott launched Operation Lone Star. This is a $4 billion operation that we have spent as far as the past 2 years, all state funded, all state resources, and we're actually looking for another $4 billion for the next 2 years. And also what's happening now with Governor DeSantis sending Florida, we were very grateful for that manpower. We need the manpower, not just for us as a state agency, but also for Border Patrol. Currently, right now, we have Idaho State Police. They're actually here in the Rio Grande Valley right now working with us. They've been with us for the past 2 weeks. They'll have another team coming in the next 2 weeks. So we have all these state agencies that are willing to help, because they realize that the federal government does not want to provide any type of support whatsoever, whether it's funding, whether it's manpower or policies. And that's why we're going to continue seeing this crisis at the border. And it is a crisis. Just because Title 42 is gone, even with that, right now, the numbers have slightly declined. Yes, they have. But we're still experiencing anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 daily encounters a day. That is not sustainable. That should not be happening. But again, it all goes back to the policies. It all goes back to what this administration is currently doing right now. And what they're trying to do is trying to hide the negative optics by actually releasing illegal immigrants through the ports of entry. That's one thing that we need to keep a close eye on, is how many people are being processed through the ports of entry, how many are being released with notice to appears for court dates 3-4 years from now.
Yeah, it's incredible. Some of them even longer than that before they get processed. It's definitely a situation that's getting worse by the day. As you mentioned, a bit of a drop in the surge, but this is going to continue to play out for days, weeks, even longer than that. Thank you so much for your time. Former Texas Congresswoman Mayra Flores and Christopher OIivarez. Thank you so much.
Thank you.